Hey everyone, Shawn Clement here for Golf WRX and Wisdom in Golf, of course, at the gorgeous Royal Quebec Golf Club. And we're looking right now today, we're going to help you out with so many of us golfers are struggling with back injuries and back soreness and things like that. And I want to show you how, number one, not to aggravate your condition any more than it needs to be. And number two, how to effortlessly play with a back that's on the verge of giving way, right? We've all been there. So I want to go in that direction. We talked about how the pelvis and the rib cage are connected through the spine, and the spine has these facet joints that are like Lego blocks. Each vertebrae is a Lego block that fits on top of the next one. And the facet joints are there to prevent each vertebrae from spinning out. And, you know, so you don't walk around like Quasimodo or worse. Now, in order for you to maintain the order in that, the last thing that you want to do is be stable with the lower body. Stability is naturally built into you through millions of years of evolution. So if I'm just letting my arms swing freely, which means I'm not going to let the upper arm crash into my body on the backswing. So notice my brain is sensing if I go to my follow through and I want to let everything fall into the backswing, my brain's got to go get the ground, use the ground to get my body out of the way, and now it feels like my left arm is completely free of any kind of collisions with the rib cage. So if I allow it to collide with the rib cage, it starts to tweak and work its way into the back and into your vertebrae. Or it's going to, you know, tend to strain the connections between and the cartilage between each, you know, rib. And you know, there's been a lot of separated rib injuries on the tour. So too much resistance, too much strain will lead to injuries like that. So what we want is get out of the way with full freedom and no strain. And then you're going to sense that your legs are going to start helping your rib cage and your pelvis turn out of the way. It's a kinetic chain in the opposite direction. So you basically have two kinetic chains in a golf swing. One, the right foot getting out of the, you know, pressing down and getting your body out of the way in the backswing. And Johnny Miller was one of the guys who used to talk about, I start my backswing by tapping the right heel. Well, yeah, he's in his follow through, taps the right heel to engage that kinetic chain into the backswing. So I get out of the way completely, and as I'm reaching the top of the swing, my brain now senses that everything's levitating, everything's in order. Now it can go get the ground and use the ground to get you out of the way in the opposite direction. Now you want to be able to do this in a very strain-free, extremely low effort. We call it ridiculously easy. And you'll notice that that kinetic chain will tend to activate all by itself. It's like a football player getting ready to throw. He's in the middle of a throw. He gets sacked. The ball gets, you know, knocked loose out of his hand. The hand and arm keeps going because the kinetic chain has already been engaged. So out of the way, out of the way. So now my right arm is free to go toward the target. Look at that full freedom over here because the whole, you know, pelvis and rib cage is completely moved out of the way. So I feel zero strain on my spine right now because everything is gliding nicely out of the way. And so all I want, and this is what matters, is range of motion is king. As I complete my turn, my brain now has easy access to the lead leg, to the opposing leg where I'm going to go. And in the follow-through, it's the same thing. Remember Jack in his prime, he used to fire and fall back. Well, yeah, if you want to walk backwards, you just lean back and take a step. You want to fall forwards or walk forwards, you fall forwards and catch yourself in the act. So we're exactly like those little segues, right? You lean back, it moves back with you. Forward, it moves forward with you. So In my follow through, I'm in a perfect position to go grab the ground and move in the opposite direction. So if you can cut the grass back and through without stopping, don't hit yourself, don't hit yourself. Out of the way, out of the way. Your whole spine stays beautifully free. Now we can go ahead and apply it to a golf shot. So I'm going to take this right over my divot. I'm already swinging back and through without stopping, so I'm in my follow through. Now my legs can use the ground to remove myself out of the way, and now I can throw nicely towards the target with ease. Out of the way, out of the way. Now I've got a wonderful action moving toward the target, and I feel like my whole spine is completely relaxed, and I got no strain or no struggle in getting through. And you'll realize with full range of motion like this, so when I push somebody's reset button, a long hitter who's very strong and has a tendency to overstrain, the overstrain is where they typically lose their shots. It's because they're straining too much in the swing. So we're going to hit a 7-iron 120 yards with a full range of motion. So gather. And then they realize, hey, isn't that the full distance I normally have with my 7-iron? It just landed. So my 7-iron is my 180 club, and it feels like I could do that all day long and never hurt myself. So for those of you who have trail hip injuries, well, the one leg drill is my favorite drill for that, because if you've got something going on with that trail leg and you're having a hard time, completing your turn and having it support that center of gravity, all we're going to do is take it out. So we're going to remove it from the ground. See what happens there? My center of gravity now moves back and into my forward leg. And now I'm going to do that back and through, out of the way, out of the way. This is like ballast. See how I just move and allow that right hip to move itself behind my left hip. Still feels like there's nothing going on with my right foot. Out of the way, out of the way. And now I'm right up against that lead foot, and I can engage that kinetic chain so easily. Out of the way, out of the way. And that distance that you'll have with that, trail foot off the ground is going to be every bit as long as any shot you've ever hit. And you'll find that maybe you're playing a little bit better on that one leg. Many of my students have told me about that, and I've been out on the golf course a few times. If you look at my premium channel, we've done some feet together on course, one leg on course, and we found it extremely easy to stay centered because you can't go anywhere. Your center is in place. So out of the way, out of the way. See how my center of gravity is staying exactly in the same place, back and through. So if you look at two sports, very easy. If you've played baseball or tennis and you have a two-hand backhand, you already know what that's going to feel like. So as a righty tennis player, if I'm doing a backhand towards you with two hands, see how I'm moving into it? So I feel like, see how my hands are in front of my chest right now. There is zero strain on my back. I'm never going to coil my upper body against my lower body when I'm playing tennis. So you look at Federer, when he takes that backhand, you see that gorgeous movement. Everything moves together. Ribcage and pelvis moves together, grabs the ground, and he's able to move beautifully through that ball. And it's the same thing in baseball. When I'm playing baseball, I play left-handed as well. I'm waiting for the pitch. The pitch comes. See what happens? As I'm moving forward, my back is turning to it, and my arms are floating up the chest. So everything is free, always here. It's never bunched up against my rib cage. So those are two wonderful sensations that you can go collect and bring into your golf swing after. So if I go to my left-handed golf swing, my even clubs are all left-handed. So gather, that feels exactly like my two-hand backhand in tennis. So I'm gathering and I'm letting it go. Gather, let it go. Out of the way, out of the way. So it's completely free in both directions. My arms and club can track on a rail, and I've got wonderful accuracy in the same distance in both sides. So if I'm needing 195, that's my left-handed 6-iron. If I'm needing 205, 210, that's my right-handed 5-iron. So it's the same chain in both directions. It's just a slightly different feel. It's like throwing a frisbee with my left-handed swing, or a two-hand backhand, or hitting a home run in baseball, versus skipping a stone or hammering a nail with my right-hand side. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. And being able to practice with both sides, if you look at what super speed is doing, that'll also help balance out the muscles around your spine and your core to help that long-term health. Okay, all the best. We'll see you next week.